to do. I want this to be an interactive script practice. It's not me just teaching a class, it's us listening, it's us throwing out our best objection handlers, it's us figuring out the right way to respond so that when that objection comes up, we know 2 or 3 different ways to handle the objections that are presented to us at any given time. So I want to throw this out here. And what we're going to do today is for each objection that we have, let's come up with at least 3 different ways to overcome that objection. If you guys are in a position where you can take notes and write down those objection handlers, do it. If you're not in a position where you can write it down, just rest assured that I will send the recording out, and later on you can go back in at your own time. And I would encourage you to write down the objection handlers in the script binder. Keep those with you. So the first one here that I want to cover today, bring me a buyer. You're calling the FSBO. They don't have time to talk to agents. All they say is, bring me a buyer. I'll give you your 3%. How do we handle that? What are we going to say to those people that tell us to just bring them a buyer? What's the script? What's the objection handler? Come on, all you money hungry real estate agents that want to get paid and want to hit your goals. What did you say? What would you say? I'm a for sale by owner. You've called me right now. And my objection to you is bring me a buyer. Al, you're up first.
Well, I want to bring you more than one buyer. I want to bring you many buyers. And I'd like to take just 10 minutes of your time to show you how I do that.
Listen, I'm super busy. I don't have time for all that. I don't need you to bring me many buyers. Just bring me one. Now, you bring me somebody who's qualified, I'll pay you a commission. I don't have time to meet with every agent that wants to meet with me.
I hear that. You're very pressed for time, and time is precious. But let me ask you this. If I bring you a buyer and I'm representing the buyer, would I be working for you, or would I be working for the buyer?
You'd be working for the buyer.
Okay, and let's say we do go under contract for the property. Would I be negotiating for you, or would I be negotiating for the buyer?
For the buyer. I mean, that's who you represent.
Right, and I want to represent you. And I want to bring you the best value possible for your property. Now, if I bring a buyer, that buyer may or may not buy your property. And then at that point, where do we go from there?
Well, I guess we'll cross that road when we get to it.
Right. So, if I just had, maybe 10 to 15 minutes of your time today, say at 4 p.m., I can show you how I can get you many qualified buyers and work for your best interest to get the highest value for your property. So how does 4 o'clock sound later today?
I'll give it to you at 4. Let me ask you this, though. How does that script work for you when you're calling for sell by owners? When you say that to them, what's the response? Do you get people to engage with you? Are they open to meeting with you after you walk them through that scenario?
Frankly, I haven't had success with it. When I say, first of all, I'm more relaxed with you because we have rapport.
Of course.
But when it's with a complete stranger, I tend to get nervous and kind of stumble on my words. And but I do try to say it. I don't try to say. I say it. I'm like, I don't want to just bring you a buyer. I want to bring you many buyers. But as far as how polished I just did it with you, I can't quite get to that point.
All right. Well, first of all, let me say a couple of things. Number one, it is always easier with someone that you know, which is one of the reasons why I recommend you have multiple role play partners. You don't want to get too comfortable, right? You want to find people all the time that are going to test you. And it's another reason why I recommend part of your script practice needs to be calling actual for sale by owners, right? You need to call the real people that are going to give you true objections, and then you can push past that nervousness. I had it for a long time where I would call and do my scripts and my words were choppy. I was skipping over words and making mistakes. And I just got better and better and better. And the reason why I got better is I started reviewing my calls and how I said things and how I showed up. And so what I want you to focus on, like what you were saying when I said, bring me a buyer, It's not that that's the wrong thing to say. However, sometimes we jump into the objection handlers too quickly before we have good information. Here's what I mean by that. So all of you guys, when someone says you call a FSBO right in the beginning and they're like, bring me a buyer, the goal is to get an appointment. And if we start trying to overcome that objection right in the beginning, a lot of times we get shut down and we never get a chance to recover. So what I want you guys to say moving forward, here's one thing that you can say at the very least. When they say, bring me a buyer, oh, great. I'm so happy to hear that you're working with agents. Awesome. So when you sell this house, where are you moving to? And you start going through your whole script. You're finding out where they're moving to, why that's important, how much do they want to sell their home for, how would you take less, are you flexible? You're getting all this information from them. So by the time they say, well, listen, Dave, I appreciate all the questions, but listen, just bring me a buyer. Then I'm going to turn around and say, you know, Al, I got to be honest with you. I don't have a buyer for your property. And to be quite honest, if all the other agents that were calling actually had a buyer, your home would be sold already, wouldn't it? And here's what I have to say, and please don't get offended when I say this, but you really don't want me to have a buyer. You just told me all your motivation. You told me why you're moving, where you're moving to, how soon you have to be there, how much you'll take on the sale of your home. You've given me information that if I actually had a buyer, you're telling me how to out negotiate you. And on top of that, you're paying me to out negotiate you because you're willing to pay me a commission. My question, Al, is who's protecting you throughout this whole process? Who's protecting you to make sure that you're not giving your equity away, that you're selling for top dollar? Because if I have a buyer, my fiduciary duty is to them. It's to get them the best deal and get them the best price.
What if they say, what if they say something like, well, I have a lawyer that looks over my contracts?
Yeah, of course. Of course
I get that a lot too.
And listen, lawyers are a big part of this process, and I'm so happy that you have a lawyer to look it over. However, you got to keep in mind that that happens once you actually get the offer in. You need someone that's on the front line that's actually talking the right talk, negotiating to get you the right dollar amount. By the time it gets to the attorney, you know, you've already given out the information that's helping the other party negotiate against you. You need somebody on the front line that's protecting your equity. Yeah, definitely lawyers have a place here, and I use them on every single transaction, but they're lawyers. They're not real estate agents. They're not trained negotiators in the space. Does that make sense?
Sure does.
I mean, that's what I would say just off the cuff. I mean, there are probably other ways to respond to it, but we have to stop the minute someone gives us an objection. You don't always have to overcome it. And to be quite honest with you, in the beginning of the phone call, you shouldn't overcome it. You should go through your script so that they can give you the ammunition you need to overcome that script.
So kind of shift focus.
Yes.
Kind of shift focus to get them talking more about their property and everything like that.
Acknowledge it. Just acknowledge it. Oh, okay, great. So you are willing to work with agents. Perfect. So when you sell this house, where are you moving to? Go right into your script. Don't get caught up in defending yourself, because right now we're not looking to list them on the phone. We're looking to get in front of them. And if we push back too hard in the beginning, we're going to ruin the opportunity to get belly to belly and actually have an opportunity to speak with them. So Keith, did you have something?
Yeah, I don't know why there's a celebration thing up there. My apologies, but you said a couple of times you want to bring them many buyers. I'm not going to say don't say that, because ultimately, as like a listing agent, you want to bring a lot of buyers. But I think if you say to him, "I want to bring you the right buyer," that sounds a little different, right? The right buyer, because then you can kind of go into, well, how are you qualifying these buyers? Right. And then I would go into a percentage about how many deals fall apart. Are you fully vetting these buyers? Do you know how to fully vet these buyers? So I would just say bring the right buyer, not necessarily a lot of buyers.
I like it, Keith. There is a script though that Al is probably getting this from, where it's like, well, I could maybe find one buyer for your home. However, wouldn't you like to have 10 buyers that you could actually choose from, where you're choosing the one that's, you know, paying cash over the one that's financing? That is a script that you can use. But Keith, I do agree with you. Like, I'm gonna bring you the right buyer. I'm gonna vet them and make sure that they can get through to the closing table. So yeah, I hear what you're saying, Keith. I agree with you. Stanley, what's up, man? Stanley, your hand's up if you can unmute. All right.
Uh,
Oh, there we go. Go ahead, Stanley.
yeah, I was going to answer the question that you asked. The way you teach us on push class.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was going to say thank you for that. And I appreciate that you're working with buyer agents and you are willing to pay a commission. Let me ask you, Mr. David, are you looking for any buyer or are you just looking for the buyer that's gonna pay you the highest price possible for your home?
I mean, I'm looking to get the highest price. I need the money. We're upgrading to a bigger home. So for me, it's all about price.
Well, of course, you want the person who's gonna pay you the most money because what you net when you sell this home is important to you, isn't it?
That's the most important.
Yeah. Mr. David, let me explain to you how things typically work. If a agent has a buyer and they actually bring a buyer to see your home, they have a fiduciary duty to their buyer. Do you know what that means?
I do.
Okay. So yeah. Therefore, duty to the buyer is to bring them the best price and the best term on that home. So if a buyer agent bring a buyer, are you gonna get the best price possible?
I know what my number is, and I'm not going to sell if I don't get my number. So
Um, okay, about by allowing somebody to bring the buyer in your home, you are actually paying them to negotiate against you, aren't you?
well, I mean, listen, I understand that if I want to get this sold, I have to pay a commission. I have to be willing to cooperate with the agent. So, I mean, I'm willing to do that.
Okay, so but if I can show you a way that I can bring the buyer that's gonna pay the highest price possible for you, and after paying me, you net what you need to net so you can get your home, so I can get you to your next home. Will you interview me right now?
You're
And
not
I
the
can show
first,
you what
you're
I
not
do.
the first agent that asks me that. And I say to every single one, and I'll say it to you, I can't make more money if I have to pay you the commission. I mean, that's the whole thing. That's why I'm doing for sell by owner, so I don't have to pay the listing commission. I'm willing to pay the 3%. However, if I have to pay you an additional 3%, I'm not going to make the money I need to make on the sale of this home.
But what if I can show you a way that even if you pay me a commission, you will still net what you need to net,
Yeah,
and not gonna spend more money.
show me. I mean, like nobody's been able to demonstrate how they can help me make more. So until then, I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing.
Okay, can I meet you tonight at 5 p.m. so I can show you that way?
I don't really have time to have meetings right now. You know, if just tell me on the phone if there's something you can do, why don't you just tell me? I don't have a lot of time to meet with everybody.
In order to oh yeah, that's why I'm stuck at, and I asked you that question too. So how will you continue in that situation? Yeah.
All right,
Willing
so
to.
you're stuck here. So I want somebody to tap out, Stanley. I want somebody to jump in there. I'm saying, listen, I'm willing to meet with you if you can demonstrate on the phone to me how you can help me make more money. If you can't do that, I'm not meeting. I'm not meeting with agents. Just tell me on the phone. What can you do? How can you help me make more money? Bueller. Hello, hello. You guys there? Hello, hello. All my agents that claim they have big goals for 2024 and they plan to go out and have their best year ever. Can you handle this simple objection from a for sale by owner? Hello, you guys there? Hello.
David, this is Marla. Could you say something to the effect of, well, Mr. David, this is a six-figure investment. I think it's worth at least 15 minutes of your time to discuss. Wouldn't you agree?
I would agree, and yet I can't. Everybody keeps calling me saying the same thing, and I just want someone to tell me how they can do that. I don't understand how it can happen. Can you just tell me how you can get me more money?
Absolutely. I definitely want to tell you. How about Zoom? Could you do a Zoom appointment for this afternoon at 2?
Can you just tell me on the phone right now?
I would have to show you.
I'm trying to give you guys a hard time because I want somebody to step up and just jump in there and tell me something that's going to at least entice me to want to meet with you. Like, what's that thing that you can say? Maybe not giving me all the answers, but something that you can say that will make me go, oh, okay, I get it. I see why we need to meet. Who's got it?
Maybe, Mr. Seller, I appreciate that that time is valuable for you, and it is for me as well. Now, let me ask you, if you need to make an important decision and it's a valuable decision for you, would you rather work with someone that you talked with over the phone, or would you rather work with someone that you meet in person and you can see face to face, and you can better detect trustworthiness and things like that?
I mean, I like meeting with people in person, but you got to give me a reason to schedule a time with you. Like I want to hear something. Somebody give me something on this phone right now. Something quick.
Right.
Something quick. Make me want to meet
David,
with you. Yes. Ooh, go
sorry,
ahead.
everybody, I'm in my pajamas. I would say something like, I totally appreciate the fact that you want to save as much time as possible. I have to tell you, that's how I work. So what I would be doing is showing you how I can get you the highest price possible to net you the most in the shortest amount of time. It's a little bit more involved than just what I'm saying. I've got marketing plans, I've got pricing strategies, I've got certain kinds of photography that I use, the way I do open houses. It's a little bit more involved than that, but I could give you, when I come, I could give you a list of names of my last 5 sellers. That would be great references that you could ask them if I got them more money than anticipated in the shortest amount of time. Would that help you?
I mean, I like what you're saying, Patty, and yet, just can you tell me one thing you do? Just one thing. Nobody's been able to answer that question for me. I like everything
Oh,
you
just
said.
one, absolutely.
One
If
thing.
you want just one,
Reverse prospecting.
Thank you. But give me something else. There you go, Cito. But Patty, throw something out there.
what did she say? I missed that.
Reverse prospecting.
Oh, okay, that's good. It's my pricing strategy. I go really in depth on doing my comparative market analysis, and I'm going to show you exactly the sweet spot that if we list your house at that price, we can almost guarantee that you're going to get multiple offers over asking. It's not 100%, but so far, the last 10 deals I did, it worked.
Okay. I like that. That's one. Okay.
And
Patty.
there's more to it than just that. It's the pricing, but it's also the way I do the photography, the way I promote it, the way I market it, and the way I do the open houses.
All right. And Patty, I like that. Can you role play something with me really quickly?
Yes.
So Patty, you're asking, this is something I just came up with as you were talking. So I'm not sure if this is the right way, but let's see if this plays out. So Patty, you're asking me to tell you one thing that I can do and why you should meet with me, because you don't understand how I can help you make more money, right?
Right.
So let's say, Patty, if you can just play this game with me really quickly. Let's say that you need to go out and buy a car, right? And you know what type of car you want. You have the option of buying it at a dealership, or you have an option of, maybe going to Facebook Marketplace and buying it directly from an owner. So if you went to the dealership, what do you expect to pay if you go to a dealership?
Top dollar.
Why is that?
Because there's so many in between people. There's like, it's not just me and the seller. It's like, there's all these like overhead.
Yeah, there's a salesperson involved, right? You expect to pay fair market value, right? However, if you went to go buy that same car and you went directly to the owner, what are you expecting to pay?
Less.
Yeah, absolutely, right?
Yeah.
So Patty, I mean, you just kind of made my point for me. The reason why I want to come with you is because when people do go directly to the owner, they do expect to pay less because they're only dealing with the owner. But when the salesperson's involved, no matter what the transaction is, people expect to pay fair market value. And so I have statistics that show that I get my clients typically 5% more. 5% more. And on a house like yours at $700,000, Patty, that's $35,000 more I could put in your pocket. I mean, that wouldn't pose a problem for you, would it?
No. That's good that you used numbers, 5% more, and then the amount that is like that. And wow, that's good.
But see, here's the thing
Bringing
that
the
I
table.
like to do, and it doesn't always work, but I like to make you come up with the answer. Because when you say a owner gets less, you said it. It's fact because you
Right.
said it. I can say it all day and you'll be like, well, that's what you think. But you sat up here and told me if someone goes directly to an owner, they expect to pay less. And I'm agreeing with you. Like, Patty, you're absolutely right. That's why you do need me.
Mm-hmm.
They do expect to pay less when they come directly to you. Let me show you what I can do for you. Let me show you how I get more for my sellers. And I can go into more detail, but you asked for a quick example. That's what it is right there. So tonight at 6 or tomorrow at 4. Do you think that would work, guys? Like what I just said, or because I just pulled that out of my butt, but I feel like that would work. What do you guys think?
That would definitely work.
Okay.
I love
say-
it.
Can I say something?
Yes.
I know you follow me on TikTok. I don't know if you saw a while back, I did a TikTok saying almost exactly what you said, that when you sell your house for sale by an owner, people are expecting a deal. And it's kind of like if you go to a dealership. And then I said, if you buy a car in a dealership, or if you buy it from someone who just has a sign outside and it's parked outside their house, who do you think is going to make the most money? And then I explained how the dealership is going to be a perceived higher value for the vehicle. And I got ripped apart.
Yeah.
I got ripped apart on that. But I thought it was a good analogy, and I'm glad that you have the same analogy, because I was trying to express that analogy, and I guess there's just a lot of trolls on TikTok, but
it's a lot of trolls on TikTok, and it's one thing to say it, but it's another thing to have a conversation, and you're leading someone down the road that you want them to go down by asking questions. Then to them, it clicks and it makes sense. But when you're just attempting to explain it, the TikTok trolls are going to come out. Trust me. I Miami 9595 used to be my troll on TikTok all the time when I would bring this stuff up. And it is what it is. But what you're saying is right. You just need to ask questions and lead people to that conclusion. But Patty, I like what you said as well. Stanley, did you have something else, or did I not take your hand down?
Yes, I have something else. What if they ask you now to since you can sell my house for more money, can you send it and on an email and show me what you can do to sell my house for more money on the email?
Yeah, I'd be happy to send over a packet of information that shows you exactly what I do to get property sold, and shows you a little bit more about me. My question for you is, why are you selling the home? I'm going to go into motivation because, again, a lot of you guys just jump in and start overcoming objections, attempting to close to get an appointment, and you don't understand what the motivation is. So I'm going to always go back into the script and like, tell me why you're selling this house. Why is that important to you? What's that going to do for you? Because once you give me that information, I can handle in the objection, because I'm handling the objection, advocating for your why, your problem that you're trying to solve. I need to understand what that is so that I can overcome the objection and push you to meet with me. So don't just try to overcome the objection, attempt to understand what the motivation is. And once you understand the motivation, it's so much easier to overcome those objections. Trust me on that. We got to understand motivation. All right, so I want to move on to the next one. Listen, I'm interviewing other agents. So if you want to follow up with us on Saturday, I'll let you know what we decide, but we do have 2 more interviews before we make a decision. Thank you for your time. Thank you for coming out tonight. Understand this, you leave the house without getting that paperwork signed, your chances of getting it signed go down over 50%. You're there in front of this person. You cannot leave until you close at least 5 times. They're telling you they have 2 other interviews that they're having. What do you say to them so that you can get that paperwork signed when you're there? What do you say so that you don't leave that house empty-handed?
What are some of the reasons that are making you hesitate signing with me?
Well, I mean, I heard what you said. I got your pricing recommendation. I know what your commission is. I want to see what the other agents have to say about what my home is worth. I want to get their, hear what they have to say and get their input. Fatima,
Yeah.
Emily, keep thinking about it. Fatima, go for it.
Awesome. Hey, David, once again, thank you so much for the opportunity. Let me ask you, we cover pricing and you were okay with the price, right?
I hear what you're saying about the price. I really wanted $20,000 more, but I do hear what you're saying, but that's why I'm a little curious to hear what the other agents have to say, because that 20,000 is really important to us.
Okay, so in other words, you're not too happy with the price I presented to you. Is that what I hear?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Well, David, first of all, the price that I gave you, it's definitely it's not what I gave you. It's what the market is saying. It's what the buyers are willing to pay for your house. So, what I'm afraid is once you meet with these agents, they're gonna buy your listing. You know what that means?
No, no, I don't know what that means.
Yeah, they're actually gonna give you a price that you're actually asking, but not the price that actually gonna sell your home. Do you know what that means to you?
I mean, if they can get me the number, then I'll get 20 grand more.
Yeah, but you know what, David? If I can get you that number, why wouldn't I get it for you?
I mean, I don't know why.
Exactly. I'm being honest with you because I want to make as much money as you want to make. Does
Yeah,
that make sense?
yeah, it does.
Exactly. So this is what I suggest. I understand you have an obligation to these agents. Is that what I hear?
I mean, we did set up the appointments over a week ago. So yeah, I do want to carry through and keep my commitment with them for sure.
I totally hear. I am the same way as you. But you know what? I'll take that off your shoulder. Right now, if you give me their phone numbers, I'll call them and I'll let them know that you signed the contract with me because you're happy with whatever the presentation I gave you, with the information I gave you, and you know I'm going to sell your house for the price that's going to make you what you're looking for. I'll call them right now and let them know that you signed the agreement with me, and they can bring their buyers. They can still be part of the transaction. So what do you say? Let's just sign the contract and I'll take care of that for you right now.
But listen, can't we at least start off for 20 grand more? Like, I really want to get that number and see if we can get it. Like, I'd be willing to sign with you now and let you cancel those appointments if we could start for 20 grand more.
David, as I explained to you before, when you go to an auction,
Mhm.
where do people normally start the pricing? If they start a lower price or a higher price?
Lower price.
Lower price. And then what happens?
I mean, the auction I went to, the thing sold well over, what it should have sold for.
Exactly. So this is exactly what I'm looking to do with your house. Does that make sense?
Yeah, can you promise that though? Can you promise me I'll get more?
I cannot promise anything, but I can promise you I'm going to do all I can to get you what you're looking for. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Okay, so let's get to work, David. Let's
Like
get
to
your
see,
house sold. Let me get to photography and let's get to work.
I like to see you back role playing, Fatima. So let me ask you this. I love what you said about, interviewing the other agents and them buying the listing. I feel like we definitely should talk about that, but also we got to remember sometimes we got to take it back to what?
Motivation.
Motivation. Like, for those people who are like, but I want the 20,000, it's like, Fatima, let me just go back to what you told me and the reason why I'm here. I'm here because you have a new job starting in California and you tell me you have to be there no later than the end of January. Has anything changed or is that still the case?
Okay, yeah, that's still the case.
Still the case. What happens if January comes around and this home hasn't sold? How does that affect that move to California and this new job? What happens if this home doesn't sell?
Oh yeah, then I'm in trouble.
You're in trouble how though? Tell me more about that. What's that going to mean?
Well, that means that I have to leave my family behind, and I can't
Okay. So
lose
that's,
this opportunity.
yeah. So that's a bit of a non-negotiable. Everyone needs to move at one time.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. And see, that's why I'm going to recommend that we listen to the market, Fatima. The market is telling us in order to get this home sold on time, then we have to be priced here. Remember those comps I showed you, and we had those properties that started higher and they were on the market for like 60 plus days? It was because they were overpriced and it took that long to get their home sold. 60 days from now is what, Fatima?
Yeah, it's overdue.
So I'm pushing because this is what's important to you. You have to be there by January. If we overprice it, you won't be. You'll still be here in New Jersey. So why don't we do the right thing and price the property so it will sell, and we can make sure that you get to your new job on time, and more importantly, your family can move with you. So will you
Okay.
list your house with me tonight at that price?
Yeah, let's go do it. I like that. I like that. Motivation. I always forget about motivation. You're right.
I always remember my first bold class, and Diana Kokoska had a video of her going through the listing presentation, and her husband was actually the seller. And every time he talked about price and, oh, I want more and I want this, she kept saying, but that's not California by January. Like, I can price your house here. That's fantasy land. You need to get it sold. We need to price it here. And she kept going back to motivation and motivation. And that sticks with me. That's why I talk about motivation all the time, because logic makes people think, emotion makes people act. And we got to tap into that. So Matthew, what's going on, sir?
What's going on, brother?
What's up, sir?
Talk to me. What do you want me to script role play on?
So here's my question for you. When you make calls and you're prospecting, what's the one objection that you get that you have a difficult time overcoming, or you wish you had something different to say?
Okay, so when I'm cold calling FSBOs,
Yes.
and there's an investor that doesn't want to pay a realtor commission.
Got it. Okay, so let's role play that. So I'll be the investor. I want you to be the agent, or let's switch it around. You want me to be the agent, or you want to be the agent?
I'll be the agent.
Okay, so hey, listen, I'm willing to pay you guys a commission of 2%, but I'm an investor. I sell properties all the time. I'm not willing to pay an agent to list the property. I can take care of that myself.
Okay. Well, is there a reason why you're only willing to pay 2%?
I mean, that seems to be the going rate nowadays. I mean, it's a new build, it's a new construction. All you have to do is bring your people. It sells itself. So, you know, I figure 2% is a good price at this price point. Anyhow, $1 million. I figure that's a healthy commission.
Understood. Are you aware of the benefits of actually listing it on the open market as far as with the MLS?
I mean, yeah, I've talked to plenty of agents over time, and I have listed some property on the MLS. But right now, it's important that I make as much as possible on this property, and so I'm going to attempt to sell it on my own, just paying out the 2%.
Okay, understood. Well, why don't we do this? If possible, can we meet in person? That way I can show you the comparables, show you what my marketing plan is, and that way I can show you how you can get the most amount of money with the least amount of stress and the least amount of time.
At this point in time, I'm going to say no to that. Like, if you want to come to one of the open houses I do every Sunday from 12 to 4, feel free to come by. But right now I'm getting enough traction, enough agents that are calling me with potential buyers. I don't want to take the time to meet with anyone right now.
Okay. So you are getting interest on the property, which is excellent. I looked at the pictures. I see you're doing a great job. Your construction came out very well. Why don't you do this? Why don't you allow me to host that open house for you this coming weekend, and I'll show you exactly what my marketing and my advertising can do.
Host an open house for me. How much would that cost me? How much would that cost me?
Free, completely free.
Huh. Tell me more. So I'm gonna stop you there, but I would have you tell me more about that. But here's what I want to do. Mm-hmm. Somebody who knows me tell me what I would want Matthew to do on that call that he didn't do.
Talk to me.
Anybody? Do you guys know who I am? Like, tell me what Matthew didn't do that I want him to do.
Tell him it doesn't sell by itself.
No, not even that. Thank you, Liz. Liz Vega knows
me. What
Liz
is
Vega knows me. All right. The motivation. So Matthew, if you can unmute, let's attempt to role play this with me being the agent and you being the investor, right? So you're telling me that you would only pay me 2%, right? I'm gonna say, Matthew, that's great. I'm glad that you're working with agents. I work with a lot of investors, and most of my investors right now are super excited about this market. Do you have any other opportunities that are coming up?
Not right now.
Yeah. I'm sure you want to be ready when they come up though, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So with you selling this home, I understand that you're attempting to sell it and not pay a commission, and I completely respect that. Let me ask you, when you free this equity up in this property once it's sold, what's your next project?
I'm definitely going to invest in more properties.
Yeah. Yeah. And is this money tied up, and this is the only thing keeping you from creating those other opportunities? Oh, you're muted. I want you to be safe.
Currently, yes.
You're driving, so be safe. But
I'm sorry, man. I'm at my day job, so I'm working and driving. But yes, currently, yes, I will be investing in other properties, and I'm looking for the proceeds of this sale to free me up to be liquid.
Yeah, I hear that. I mean, I have this conversation with all my other investors. How much is this costing you in opportunity costs because you haven't sold this property yet? Like, how much money are you losing? It's muted again.
I'm losing about 30.
Yeah, so that's the whole thing, man. Listen, I'm not here to tell you you can't sell this property on your own. I know a lot of investors who do it. Over time, they end up getting the property sold. What ends up happening is that they're losing a lot of opportunities because they don't have this cash freed up. And if I could sit down and show you a pricing and marketing strategy that would get this property sold for top dollar and get it sold quickly so that you could take advantage of the market and get your next opportunity, would that be something you'd be open to hearing about?
Absolutely. You know I would.
Yeah. So here's the thing I'll tell you. I don't take every listing. I'm not going to waste your time, and I'm not going to waste my time. But based on my track record working with investors like you, I know that I can help. And so what I'm going to do is just come out and meet with you, give you the information, give you the strategy. And it's no pressure. If you can see the value in working with me, I'd love to work with you. If it doesn't make sense, we'll shake hands and we'll part ways. No pressure. So I'm looking at my schedule. I got 6 tonight. I got 2 o'clock tomorrow. What time works for us to get together so we can put a game plan together that works for you?
Let's do 2 o'clock tomorrow.
Okay, 2 o'clock. All right. That may or may not work, but here's the thing. I'm digging for motivation. I'm asking what's important to him. What's important to most investors is give me my cash so I can go make some more money. And they have carrying costs. They have hard money costs. They see opportunities that they want to jump on that they're missing out on because they have all their money tied up in this other investment property. If you talk to them about what's important to them, they may give you an in. They may allow you to come work for them. And here's the biggest thing that I love to say to any for sale by owner, investor, or just a regular seller: put me to work. Here's what I'm going to do. Everything that I showed you that I do for my clients, I'm going to go to work for you right now for free. I'm going to do the photography. I'm going to do the staging. I'm going to do the broker opens, do the open houses, do all my social media marketing. And here's the win for you. You don't pay me one thing until I bring you an offer that you find acceptable. Once you find that offer acceptable, that's when you pay me. If I don't bring you anything that makes sense, you don't owe me anything. So there's nothing to lose. Put me to work. Now, to them, that sounds like a really good offer. To us as real estate agents, don't we do that with every listing? Don't we get listings and spend our money and do all the marketing and broker opens and social media marketing without getting paid until we bring them an offer? That's what we do. But it's how you serve it up. When you sell it that way, they're like, oh, you're willing to do all that for me and I don't have to pay you unless you bring me an offer. It allows you to go in and get opportunities. It allows you to get in the door, get belly to belly, and then show them who you are and show them what you do. Stop skipping over motivation. Don't be afraid to have that conversation. Don't be afraid to ask, why are you selling? What are you looking to accomplish? Tell me more about that. What does that mean if the home doesn't sell? It's uncomfortable sometimes to go there when you're talking to an investor or a seller. However, your income is in direct proportion with your ability to have difficult conversations. You got to have them. And the for sale by owner, the investor will list with the agent that shows their value. If you can show your value and you do your consistent follow-up, you'll get opportunities. You just have to know how to demonstrate it.
Making a lot of sense, bro. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, hey, I'm gonna throw this out to we should take retainers like Lori Ariane. Sometimes I think that too. And Keith, you were funny. I saw your comment about chasing them around with the pen. I like that. I got to take it to my favorite one right now. we're waiting till the spring. Holidays are coming. You know, we got family coming in. We're just going to hold off until the spring to put our house on the market. So if you want to give us a call back in, say, March, I'd be willing to talk with you. But right now, we're just going to hold tight.
What's important to you about waiting till the spring?
Well, you know, I want to have the holidays without having, you know, people in and out the house. And the spring market, we've typically sold all our houses in the spring. We've always been told that's the right time to put your house on the market. The yard looks nice, everything's in bloom, and the home just shows better. So we decided we're going to hold off and wait until then, Patty.
Okay. So if I could get your house under contract and you could sell before spring, still making a lot of money, would you still be interested in listing now?
Well, how would that work? What do you mean by that?
I'll tell you. So if you wait till spring, you're right in that a lot of people think spring is the best time to sell because there's a lot more buyers out looking at that time, and there's a lot more houses on the market in spring. So you're going to be one of 100 houses for sale, as opposed to in the next 2 months, you're going to be one of maybe 8. That makes sense?
It does.
So if there's going to be a bunch of buyers coming out in spring, because the weather's nicer, people like going to open houses in the spring. If you do it now, the people I've found in my experience, the people that are going to open houses and buying houses now are extremely serious buyers. They're not the looky-loos. We call them looky-loos, the people that just come to the open house. It's a nice day out. They are going for a walk. They're going for a drive. They're popping in your open house. Right now, the people that are looking to buy are extremely serious and aggressive buyers. So if you put your house on the market now, you could be sold and gone by spring.
Interesting, Patty. Patty, okay. Can I coach you on something you said? Because I like what you said. Can I tweak something?
Sure, please.
I would start, if it were me, I would start with the buyer. So Patty, you know, one thing I want you to understand, like it's wintertime. We're about to start getting snow, as you know. So imagine the buyers that are looking right now during this time of the year. You have to imagine they're pretty serious, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, you mentioned waiting until the spring. A lot of sellers are thinking the exact same thing as you, Patty. So let me ask you this. When spring rolls around and you and all those sellers hit the market at the same time, and there's a flood of inventory, Patty, what does that do to price when you have a lot of inventory? Does it drive price up or drive it down?
Down.
Down. So what you're saying is if we wait until spring, like everyone else, then the potential is that you're going to get less money for your house, right?
It's sounding that way.
And you also said too, like the buyers that come out in the wintertime are really serious buyers. So if we put your house on the market now where there's less competition, but we have some serious buyers that are out there, do you think we could potentially sell your house for more money?
Yeah, it's kind of, you're making a lot of sense.
And so, Patty, I don't disagree with you. I completely agree with that. Like we will make more money now. However, I do respect that it's wintertime and you have your family coming in for the holidays and you don't want the disruption. So what I'm going to do is come out and meet with you tonight or tomorrow, Patty, and we're going to go over a plan on how we can get this property sold now when you have less competition, but more importantly, how you can have a holiday that's not going to be interrupted with showings. We did it during COVID, and there's definitely a way that I can help you get this property sold and sell it for top dollar and not have a disruption for you and your family over the holidays. So does tonight at 6 or tomorrow at 2 o'clock work better for us to have that conversation?
Tonight at 6. You might as well bring the listing paperwork. I'm just going to sign it now.
All right, 6% too. So yeah. I said everything you said, but a couple of things that I did differently. I was asking you questions, and again, getting you to say, like, I would get less in the spring and I could potentially get more. Instead of telling, I'm asking. And I think that's just something, you know, Patty, we talked in the past about that question game we used to play, right? Like,
I know, I was just thinking that, like, that's, yeah. You took what I said, digested it, and then handed it back to me in a question. It's like friggin' Jeopardy. It's the real estate Jeopardy. Yeah. Everything has to be a question.
And that's what we have to do, right? We have to question mode. Again, when they say it, when the seller says something, to them, it's fact. If we say it, It's our opinion. So I need Patty to say spring means less money. Once she says that, then I can make a solid argument based on her motivation to get the property listed now. And I also have to hear her. Like, we got to spend time listening to what the seller's saying. She's saying it's holidays. I don't want people in my house during the winter time. So I'm going to solve for that issue too, because that's also an objection. I don't want people in my house during the holidays. We can deal with that. We weren't even doing showings during COVID. We go in with our little videos and people would make offers, right? So don't tell me we can't sell a property without it being shown. We did it for 2 years. We can do it. All right. Any other way you guys will handle that objection? My objection handlers like Ashley, Keith, Fatima, Jane, Mr. King, Liz Vega. How else would you guys handle that? I want to wait until the spring. I had Jason on here too. How would you guys handle that?
Personally, I don't think that there's a better way to answer it, right? Like you asked them. I mean, I think that the spring, I don't even know if we have a spring market anymore. It's kind of what I would kind of go into too. I think that spring market personally is kind of starts in like January 10th, January 15th at this point. But it's supply and demand. So I think that's the best way to overcome that personally. Would you rather be one of 10 houses on the market, or would you rather be one of, I mean, I don't want to say 50. I don't know if we're going to have that many listings, but I mean, do it the way you want. But exactly what you said is exactly how I think it should be done. I don't think that there's an objection that they could give you back on what you just said.
Especially because they're never going to disagree with themselves. So
Right.
Once I get them to say the truth, they're not going to push back, because then they would be disagreeing with what they already said. So you're absolutely right, Keith.
The one listing I have in these, it's under contract now. When I met with them at the end of September, they said they wanted to wait till spring because they didn't want to have to deal with people in their house over the holidays. And I said, we're going to be under contract by then. You're not going to have any showings through the holidays. We'll be under contract by then. And we are, thank God.
Yeah.
But it worked. Like that was their concern. And I'm like, but if we list now, you'll be under contract by then. There's not going to be any showings.
And you were confident with what you said, and they believed you.
Yeah.
So
But I knew that we were pricing it right, and
yeah,
it was a great property. So like all those things just made sense.
when we know our numbers, Patty, we can speak confidently. Like when we price your house correctly, the average days on market is 10 days. The way we're pricing your property, I would expect within the week, we're going to be under contract. The holidays won't be an issue. Let's go ahead and get going. Let's get it going.
On that note, like if there's new agents on here, I have to say something that was offered to me when I was a new agent. It was Amrita Khurana she's in Mahwah, I'm in Ramsey, so we're in close towns. We hooked up and we agreed to help each other out and call ourselves the pricing strategy team at our office. So if I was really kind of unsure about my pricing on this house, or if the customer was doubting my pricing recommendation, I would say, you know what, I'm going to bring in someone from the pricing strategy team in my office. I'm not going to tell her what price you and I discussed. I'm going to have her come in, look at the house, and she's going to give us a separate analysis on what she thinks the price would be. And I wouldn't talk, Amrita would go in and then she would give me the information. She would be like, hey, Patty, you said 750. I'm coming up with about 750. Or you said 750. I said, I'm thinking about 775. Like I would come into the person and say, okay, so the price range is a little bit wider, or just to reaffirm myself. If I was really unsure about my pricing, I had a partner who was a little bit more experienced than me, and she was willing to come in and help me out with the pricing. She wasn't looking to get anything out of it. And then I would also do the same for her.
Patty, that's really good advice. And I'll add to that and say, as a new agent, the thing that really helped me, especially moving to Jersey, is going into a town like I lived in Wyckoff and going to see homes that were on the low end price. At that time, it was like 400,000, then knowing what a 700,000, then knowing what $1 million+ house looked like. If you go see enough of those and you take notes, you get really good at pricing. You'll get to a point where you can just walk in the house and look around and say, it's 750-ish. Like you'll be in that ballpark because you've seen so many homes that have sold at that price point. You get a feel for what a 750 house in Wyckoff is. And that's our job. Our job is to go out and see property every day, to know our market. We don't just go preview to see what condition the home is in. We go to look and see what a $750,000 house looks like, what amenities it has. And then we follow up to see what it sells for, so we can have pricing discussions with confidence, because a lot of times people don't list with us because we're not really confident on the price we're giving them. We're going through the comps and they're outscripting us on what it's worth because we don't know enough to defend the comps that we have. So we have to do a job of really getting out there, seeing property, going to Jeffrey Otto seminars, learning how to run a CMA so that you can intelligently and talk about the numbers with confidence. That's what we need to be doing. So good advice, Patty. Stanley, you had your hand up. Did you have something before I go to my last objection?
I want to list is right on Spring. I was going to ask the seller, will he rather run a race with 3 people or run a race with 20 people?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, that's another way you can handle it. There are plenty of ways you can handle that. That's just one of them. All right, so I'm going to throw this out. I know there are people here from different companies, so I'm not going to use a specific company, but I'm just going to say, we're going to be relisting our house, but not with your company. It was listed with you guys. We didn't sell it. Nobody from your company actually came out and even showed the property. So I'm not interested in anything you have to say. I'm moving in a new direction.
Can you repeat that, David?
I was listed with your company. You guys didn't sell it. I'm not interested in talking to you. I'm going to be looking to speak with another company. You guys didn't sell my home. No other agents from your company even came out and showed my property when it was listed. So I'm going to be going in a different direction. Thank you for your time.
He's hiding.
I'm waiting for somebody to speak up. Come on. Does that not happen? Do you guys not get that objection? It happens. You got to be ready for it. Give it to me, Fatima.
I give it a try. Okay. Hey, David, I totally hear you, but you know what? When your property was on the market, no one even told me about it. I mean, how are we supposed to know? I mean, I totally hear you. I understand you, but your agent never reached out to me.
I mean, but it was on the MLS, right? So you should have known about it if you work in this area.
I hear you. I totally hear you. But you know what? Usually when people don't look at properties and they have no interest in looking at your property, it's either 2 things. You know what those 2 things are?
No.
Well, it's usually that something is wrong with the property. That's what buyers usually say, or it's overpriced. So which one is your case?
I mean, I feel like we were priced right.
Okay. You feel you were priced right.
I do.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I would love to look into your property to see what exactly happened that it didn't sell, and give you my ideas as to how can we get it sold this time around.
Yeah. But like I said, I already gave your company a shot. You guys all do the same thing. I need to find someone that can come in to get this property sold. I can't risk it not selling the second time. So I've already given you guys a shot.
Well, when you say guys, let me remind you, we're independent contractors. I do work for company X, but I am an independent person. Like, for example, when you go to your doctor, for example, and they tell you they have to remove one of your organs, do you right away jump and say, yeah, it's okay, remove it? Or you shop around?
I would definitely be getting a second opinion on that before I had surgery.
Exactly. So my point is, not every doctor is the same. So for the same reason, not every agent is the same. So all I ask you is a few minutes of your time. I take a look at your property and, I give you my opinion of what the price should be, how we can get it sold. And if it doesn't make sense, we shake hands and we, everybody goes each way.
I'm trying to decide if I want to give this one to you, Fatima.
Don't give it to me, because it was kind of
I was like, I know where you were going, but I
yeah.
don't know if you connected the dots enough for me. But let me ask you this, though, Fatima.
Ashley's trying to Ashley's gonna
I'll try it.
Oh, Rosalia, what's up? How you doing? Go for it.
The car. So you're telling me you don't want to list with me because I work for the same agency as your list?
Yes. Yep. Same office,
Okay.
actually.
Same office, yes. Well, my office has 500 employees. Do you use Valley Hospital?
I do, actually. Yes. That's my
Okay.
daughters were born there.
Right. Valley Hospital, they have like thousands of doctors. If one doctor in their network didn't work for you, would you not use another doctor?
I would still go to Valley.
Right. Well, we're like Valley Hospital. We're all independent contractors, like the doctors for Valley Hospital. We work independently. We have our own businesses. We have our own strategy. And I have my way of doing things. I'm not sure what your realtor did for you, but obviously didn't do a good job. I can give you references and show you how I do my job. I wouldn't base it on that we work for the same broker, because that's totally we're totally independent of each other.
I like that. That's a good way to handle it. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I think I had to use the McDonald's example. That's the one.
That's where I thought somebody might go. It's like,
Yes.
you went to McDonald's, that's your favorite fast food place, and you go
that's
to
what I
the
thought.
one. Yeah.
That's the best one. That's
I
the
think
best
that's the
analogy.
best one. Yeah.
That's what I was going to
was
say.
gonna go, and I get where Rosalia was going, but I wouldn't use
That's
that.
good too.
I wouldn't be as nice as David with the hospital, because I'm like, what do you mean all the different doctors in a hospital do different things? Like, this hospital doesn't vet their people? Like, no, I'm never going to that hospital again. What do you mean? They're like, what?
Well, no. So Ashley, don't get caught up in
Go
that.
through-
Like, what I want you to think about, Ashley, is you got the doctor there that just, finished their residency, but then you also have the doctor that's been doing the surgery successfully for the past 20 years, right? So it's not that they do things different. There's a level of expertise, right? So Ashley, what do you do for a living? What's your profession?
I'm an exotic dancer.
Okay, fair enough, right? And so I know, like, when they have amateur night, like, some of those girls get up there and you're like, whatever, right?
Right.
Bring your money.
But guess
this
what?
way.
We take those girls under our wings and we show them the ropes so
Yeah.
they can get better.
Yeah, and I hear you that, and our company does that as well for people who are willing to learn. But sometimes there are agents that aren't willing to learn. But let me tell you, I'm like you, right? I've been doing it for a number of years, and I know when the music comes on, I know how to dance and get your property sold. So I like to sit down with you and show you what I do differently, Ashley, because it's not about the company. You're not hiring the company. You're actually hiring the individual agent, right? Just like when someone comes into your club, it's not the club, it's the individual dancer, right? And they get a different experience based on expertise and a lot of other things. So you get it. Man, you're making me blush with this example. Let me shut up.
Hey, David, let me jump in. If you allow me to sell your house, I promise you I'll make it rain.
Oh!
Just throw a little fun in there. I'm
Hold
sorry.
on a second. Mic drop. I gotta drop the mic. Oh man.
Yeah, I have
Not that I know what that means. I've heard.
It's just you heard it on some rap song.
Just
You saw it in a movie.
Yeah.
Steve.
No, that's perfect, because you can use that, right?
Yeah, you can use
Some
anything.
girls in a stripper that make a lot of money, and then there's some that are exotic dancers that don't make that much money.
Yeah.
And that's with my company, right?
Yeah.
That's what's up. Like,
So all jokes aside, right? I said that because of the reaction, and I try to make friends on the phone.
Yeah.
Really quick. And the best way to do it is to make somebody laugh.
Agreed.
You make them laugh, you break the ice. It's not as much tension. You get a little bit closer to the human side of them, and they open up just a little bit more. Then you can go back in with whatever your strategy is.
Steve, I agree with you. Yesterday in Push, we were calling for sell by owners. And when the students were calling, I actually called too. And I happened to get a FISBO on the phone. So I unmuted my computer and put it on speaker and let everybody hear. And there were several times during that conversation where I was, just having fun with them and making them laugh. And you could hear them laughing. And it went from, we're not talking to agents, to call me tomorrow and let's set up a time for you to come by. Right.
Exactly.
Just because I broke that ice and they were laughing and I wasn't being super salesy and high pressure. I was just going through my script And it eventually it led to me having an opportunity. So you're right on that, man. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So here's what I'm going to say. We're going to do this next week. Again, next week on Friday. Here is my goal. My goal is to see all the beautiful faces that are on this call. I got more people with their cameras off than on. So I love to see everybody. If you guys can turn your cameras on, turn them on now. But I also am going to do my wheel of names, and I want more people. You get more out of this if you actually participate. It's one thing to listen in. You will learn if you listen. However, you need to sweat and practice so you don't bleed in war. This is a safe space where you're not losing money if you get the objection handler wrong. You're learning how to get it right. So I don't want you out there practicing on your paycheck. I want you to come here and practice. It's okay if you're nervous. It's okay if your voice shakes. It's okay if you don't know exactly what to say. That's why you're here. If you knew exactly what to say, you wouldn't be here. So I want you to be on this call to role play the objections that you're getting. So if you really want to make this an effective class for you, when you're on the phone all of next week and you get objections that you have a hard time overcoming, write them down. And so when I start the class, when I say, what objections would you like to go over? We should be role playing that conversation that you had where you got stomped, so we can help you figure out what to say next time. So if you guys can do me a favor and get prepared for that, we will have a great class next Friday at 8:30, and we will go over objection handlers that mean something to you. You're going to get more out of it if it's the objection handler that you're having a hard time with. So I invite you to write those down and bring those to the class so we can work on that together. Lastly, I just want to say a couple of things. Next week, we still will have Morning Mindset Call. There will not be any real talk. I will be in Atlantic City for Triple Play. So I won't be having a call in the evening on Wednesday, but everything else, push, Morning Mindset Call will still happen, but we will not be having the Wednesday evening call because I'll be in Atlantic City. So that's all I have, beautiful people. I hope today was worth your time. I hope you guys learned something. I hope it was worth you being here. And I appreciate everyone who participated. Thank you so much. Fatima, it's good to see you practicing scripts again. We're going to have to go back and forth some more. Get you on here.
I know, I'm a little rusty. Yeah.
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, I mean, we're all rusty, including myself. So we all need the practice. So it's good stuff.
Yeah, somebody put in the chat, I don't know if you saw it, they want you to go over the McDonald's example. I don't know. I saw it in the chat.
Can we use something other than McDonald's? Would y'all use like another chain restaurant?
I mean, you can use any restaurant whatsoever. So Ashley, let me ask you, what's your favorite restaurant chain, Ashley?
Right. Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A, man, I tell you. And you know when I usually want Chick-fil-A, Ashley? On Sundays. Like that's when I always want it. But let me ask you, Chick-fil-A is your favorite. Let's say you were driving on the way to an appointment. You stopped at Chick-fil-A, and when you went to open up your food, they messed up your order completely. Like you were upset. Do you still go to Chick-fil-A, or do you just start going to McDonald's now?
Nah, I definitely go back to Chick-fil-A and give them another shot. Like, I don't care how many Chick-fil-A's I gotta go to. I'm always gonna give them another shot.
You don't give them another shot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure you recognize that out of all the times you went, like, yeah, you had one bad experience, but overall, you tend to have a good experience there, right?
Of course.
Yeah, you know, and that situation, Ashley, is kind of like this situation. You went to my company, you had a bad experience with an agent that wasn't equipped to help you. However, it doesn't mean that there aren't agents like myself that are equipped to help you. And so all I'm asking, just like you would give them another shot, I'm just asking for an opportunity to show you what I do differently to get property sold. You don't really owe me anything, so I can understand you not wanting to meet with me. However, you owe it to yourself to make sure that you get your property sold when you put it back on the market, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I need to get out of here.
Yeah, and I have a great track record of getting my clients home so quickly and for top dollar. So what I'm going to do, 15 minutes, Ashley, if what I say to you doesn't sound different than what the other agent did, if I don't show up differently than the other agent after 15 minutes, all you got to do is stand up and shake my hand. I'm out of your house.
Okay.
So how about tonight at 6 or tomorrow at 2? What time works best for you?
Tomorrow at 2 works.
All right, cool. I'll see you then. That's what I would say. That's
the McDonald's thing, but
you can use any restaurant. It doesn't have to be McDonald's. It's just they have the best fries. I mean,
I was just joking with the, do we have to use McDonald's? I'm sorry, you guys. I
No.
got work to do today, so let me
No.
stop.
You guys go get on the phone. I got to go see my barber and go look respectable for a party I'm going to tonight. So listen, you guys have a good one. I'm posting a bunch of videos on Instagram and TikTok where we go through some script practice, and I'm giving some objection handlers. So if you guys want some additional training, check out my Instagram and TikTok, and I have some videos that are coming out that will definitely help you be better prepared for our next script practice on Friday the 8th, my wife's birthday next Friday. Okay. All right. So I will talk to you guys later on. Have a good one.
Thank you, guys. Have a nice weekend, everyone.
All right. Y'all go
Bye.
get after it.